everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Lymphedema channel brought to you by Lymphopress. We love sharing the stories of people thriving and living their lives with lymphedema while managing their symptoms. And today we have a really unique story. It's a bit of a family affair. We've got Sonja and her daughter Tayler here to talk to us about their experiences living with lymphedema and lipedema.
Hello, I am Sonja. I am a native of Arizona, and I am, let's see, how old am I? 36. So I am the one with lipedema, as well as my sister and my mother. And this is Tayler, and she has primary lymphedema, which was diagnosed at the age of 12.
We are just so delighted to have you both here on the channel and to hear your stories. Now, Sonja, with your lipedema, did that make you a little more aware of Tayler's legs when she was born? What was that like when you first noticed there was something maybe going on there?
So unfortunately, because lipedema goes undiagnosed so often, if not, just as much as lymphedema, I actually did not know that I had lipedema until I was maybe 32 or 33. So we actually kind of found out right along the same time frame through my mother. So she was seeing a doctor here in Arizona, and that doctor was able to give her a diagnosis, which then opened up the world for us, because that same doctor looked at my sister and then looked at myself, and then through a photo of Tayler in 2019 said, you need to get her in to a lymphedema therapist or a doctor that treats it. I can almost guarantee you that's what she has. So Tayler actually, as you stated, was born with it. And for let's see, that was 2019. So 12 years, I heard, it's fine. Everybody's different. We have, your body's all shaped differently. Everybody's misproportioned. Nobody's perfect. The swelling is fine. It's normal. And as a baby and a toddler, it was really hard to get her into shoes. And then, so she wore, lots of sandals. And then once school started, when she started walking, it evened out a little. The infant and toddler years were a massive difference. Once she started walking and thinned out a little, then it wasn't so significant, but there were days where she would do a lot of, activities or something, and it was, Mom, my leg hurts. She couldn't get her shoes on for, say they were like cute strappy sandals. She couldn't put them on, and we never knew why. And so it was always, that was, I think, more of the emotional struggle, because we didn't know anything. And so now when we go shopping, we're like, okay, well, let's plan for a little bit more edema. And we have a little more, I guess, security in that sense of knowing at least now what we're dealing with. So
that's interesting that you all kind of had your diagnosis journey together as a family. That's so unique, because a lot of people, this is a very isolating condition for a lot of people. They feel really alone. It's hard to find folks who understand the experience of even shoe shopping. I shared with you before the interview, I have lymphedema. I have a twin sister who does not have lymphedema. And even though we're so close and she gets me on so many levels, she'll never know what that's like. So you kind of have this blessing in disguise of sharing this experience together. So what's that been like? Have you been able to lean on each other? What are some ways that you've all been able to kind of support one another in even sharing tips for shoes or comfy pants or things like that, to the deeper stuff? How do you kind of pull on each other for that?
My mom was really the pioneer in that sense, where she grew up in an era where people just constantly called her fat. Every doctor says, exercise more and eat better. Or, people are very judgmental because my mom has lower extremity, but she also has the upper extremity lipedema. And so she was always self-conscious. But to know my mother, I don't think you would really know that unless you really, really knew her, because she's so confident. And so for, my sister and I, our lipedema really kind of had an onset in our 20s and 30s, where we've watched my mother struggle with this for years. And so I think for us, just knowing that none of us are very quiet women, we're all very bold and strong.
Taylor, making a face.
Taylor tries to pretend like she's not, but she's navigating the world in a new way. And, she's a freshman in high school. And so image is very important. And I understand that. So I just tell her, people are not always going to be nice. Lipedema, lymphedema, or not. You're always going to have to deal with something that you don't want to. You're always going to have the people who think they're prettier than you or skinnier than you, or that they run faster. You're always going to deal with that. So at least now when somebody says, hey, Taylor, is your leg broken? She's like, no. I tell her, just my lymphatic system, it's fine.
Yeah, because my mom posted a photo of me, and then the wrapping makes your leg look so much bigger than it really is. So everyone texted me and said, are you broken?
Oh no.
Are you okay? But I had to explain to them that my lymphatic system just doesn't work properly.
I think in that way, I just try to remind her that it's an opportunity for her, as uncomfortable as it may be, since this is a lifelong journey for all of us. I just want her to always remember that she's already helped so many other people, in the sense that I posted, even before that, when we went to her pediatrician to ask for, I had done all the research, right? So this is April 2019. I sent the picture to that other doctor, and she wrote, had my mom was there. And so she told my mom, get her in right away. This is, what you're dealing with most likely. And when I called around here in Arizona, which is a large city, we have a lot of medical advancements. I mean, we have the University of Arizona, and we have some of the best hospitals here. We have a Mayo Clinic. We have Phoenix Children's. None of them either had someone that specializes in it, or someone that specializes in it for pediatrics. So I had to call down to St. Joseph's, which is one of the hospitals here. And they do have a lymphedema clinic that's attached to their oncology department. And they said, well, depending on her age, we might be able to take her. It just depends on her maturity level, because we're not going to go through all of this trouble of, treating her if she's not going to do what she needs to do. And more or less. Bring her in, we'll see. Her therapist was great, but her pediatrician had no idea what it was. And I had been seeing we've been seeing that pediatrician for about 7 years. And so I went in, I said, this is what my referral needs to say. This is what, I literally had them tell me word for word what the medical things need to say and all of that. I said, whether you believe me or not, or whether you know what it is, I just need you to write it. And she's like, hang on, wait. What is this? What do you have? What can you give me? So at that point I had told her, I said, okay, well, here's this. This is what my mom has. This is what my sister and I have. So I just vomited on her words of medical things. And she's like, hang on. So she gets out her laptop and she's looking it up, and she's like, this is so interesting. Okay, let me know what they say. Come back. Well, the doctor's kids go to school with Taylor, so we have a little bit better rapport with her. So she had no idea what it was. later that day, she told one of her colleagues about it. And the colleague says, I have a kid that I think might have this. So then that kid gets treatment, that kid gets an answer. And that's when I told Tayler, I said, listen, you're young enough that you could be one of the people that helps bring more awareness to the problem, because we don't have enough, there's just not enough awareness or resources or education. And we're lucky enough that we actually live in the same state as Brittany and Brylan. So we have them to lean on too when I'm at a loss or I need a DME or a CLT, and or if I just don't know where I'm going. And that's been a big help too. So we're definitely not alone in that sense. So
I love that story of your pediatrician kind of passing on the info to someone else and that leading to another diagnosis. That's the ripple effect of awareness in action. Like, it just takes one person to say something or to learn about it. And then look, you.
Yeah. And then I had really, I'm very inconsistent with social media. And so I said, you know what, this month I'm going to do every day I'm posting and I am hashtagging my max 30. And so I had a mother, I want to say probably the very first day of the month, reach out to me, and she's like, what is that? What are you doing? I'm in the UK. My CLT hasn't told me anything about short stretch bandaging. Mm-hmm. What is something else? She asked me something else about the treatment, the pump. And so I sent them the website. I sent her the link. I said, here's their Instagram, here's their Facebook, here's everything. Here's their link. I said, this is of course the UK, I'm in the US, you're in the UK, but they have, just look at it. And she said, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I've never heard of these pumps. I'm going to have to talk to our doctor. And so I said, I highly recommend it. Even if you have to save up to pay out of pocket, it's worth it, because you can then take control of your daily life in a way that works for your family, versus having, when I first had Taylor's diagnosis, I had to take her about an hour away every day, 3 days a week. But by June, so I've been home with her since she got her diagnosis. So she's really stuck with me now, because now I don't work. So my husband takes on that role so that I can manage her lymphedema on a daily basis.
So Tayler, do you pump, and do you enjoy pumping, and how's that been for you?
It's very annoying, not gonna lie. The annoying part is that I have to just sit there, but then I end up feeling a lot better after it though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard to be compliant, especially, when you're younger and everything too. It's the last thing you want to do is putting on the stockings or the bandages or pumping. And it wasn't until my 20s that I really started to take it seriously. Something that helps me with pumping, I have a lymphopress too, is I kind of use it as me time, and I catch up on a few episodes of a show I've been watching, or go on Instagram, or little things like that might help. I know it's like the last thing you want to hear, but
she says that it's annoying, but she's like, oops, sorry, I can't watch the dogs for an hour and I've got to go.
That's the only part.
Yeah, we have 2 puppies. He's always on puppy duty. Actually, he's barking now. And so when she's pumping, that is her me time. She gets to just kind of relax, and then she's pampered. And do you need water? Can you snack? So she enjoys it a little more than she lets on.
It does become, I always fall asleep inevitably when I use mine too. It's a good nap time. But I saw on your Instagram that, Tayler, you went to Camp Watchme, and what was that like for you to meet other kids with lymphedema and learn so much about it?
My therapist actually she did a really good job at explaining all my options, but being there was really fun. We did a lot of activities, and it actually made me realize how fortunate I am, because my case isn't as bad as a lot of other people's, because some of the kids there had it in both of their legs and in their hands. So it just made me realize how fortunate I am that mine is more contained, I guess. But it was actually a really fun experience, though.
That's awesome. that is really special that you get to meet other people that are your age going through. Cause like we were saying in the beginning, it's such an isolating thing. You know, a lot of people, adults go 40, 50 years without meeting anyone else with lymphedema. So it's awesome that Camp Watchme exists, and Bryland's Feet does so much for pediatric lymphedema and their families. So that's a really neat experience. And how have your friends how have they come to understand your lymphedema? What does that sort of mean to them? Like, do they get that sometimes your leg may feel a little heavy, or it's swollen, or you might need to prop it up sometimes? Or
now that I've like told a few of my friends, like my friend Paige, for instance, she's like, how are you feeling? Because like we went to Urban Air yesterday, no, 2 days ago. So she was asking me how I felt, because I kind of like
a trampoline place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like landed on my ankle on one of the trampolines, so she was like asking how I was, and she was asking if I was okay and if I needed to sit down. So it kind of helps my situation because they understand.
That's awesome. It's great to have supportive friends with or without lymphedema, you know. It makes a huge difference. Now, when you were going through the journey of trying to find a diagnosis and treatment for Tayler, obviously it's a lot of, you know, hitting walls, trying to get answers and not finding them. What would you tell, well, scratch that. What did you, other than Tayler has lymphedema, here's what you got to do to help, what did you most need to hear at that time? And for parents that might be watching this, what's something that reassuring words that they can then hear from you as someone who's been there?
The number one thing I have for other parents is trust your own instincts. You know your child best. Obviously, I did not push hard enough for 12 years. I just kind of took the medical experts at their word. But the number one reassuring thing that I heard, or I have been told, I would probably say is that I've watched, you know, Amy Rivera and Cam Ayala and Mary, who also works for Lymphopress, and their journeys. And there was a girl from camp named Sydney, and she's 19 and she plays soccer. And, you know, we went to camp, and it was just it was so nice to know we aren't alone as parents, because as parents, I mean, you feel like, oh, this is my little baby, what can I do? Or, you know, I think it was just nice knowing that I'm not alone as a mom of a child with lymphedema. And seeing other people that have, you know, gone through various surgeries with different doctors, the different pathways, or, you know, seeing girls that are a little older than her encourage her and tell her something along the lines of, rock your garments, who cares? You know, people are going to stare at you no matter what. Or I still, like the girl Sydney, she's like, I still play soccer and I just wear my socks. Like, if somebody wants to ask about it, I'll tell them. Or, you know, I think that's just the biggest thing, is seeing other people and knowing that it's not a death sentence. Like, somebody who's being over dramatic might feel like this is the end, you know, this is it. I can't do this, but really you can, and you'll do it beautifully in your own way. There is no one size fits all, whether it's lipedema or lymphedema or both.
I love that. And that's something that we like to say a lot at Lymphopress too, because there's a lot of this narrative of you're suffering with lymphedema. And we like to say, no, like you're living with it. You know, it's
Right.
it's not the end of the world. Like you said, it's not a death sentence. You can live a really active lifestyle. You just have to listen to your body and, you know, take care of it, but it's not going to impede you from doing most things you want to do. So that is the beautiful thing. And in a way, it can sort of be kind of a gift too, in that it gives you empathy and understanding for other people's experiences also. So I think
Right.
you're a really strong gal, Taylor, having to deal with this at a young age too. It's not easy, and top of the regular freshman year stuff. We know
Right.
it's already a challenge, but you're going to be doing great with this. It's just compliance is key, but but I think that's really awesome. And what a great message. And Taylor, do you have anything that you'd want to impart on anyone your age that may be dealing with this or having a hard time?
I guess just that it may seem hard, but trial and error. You need to try and try again, and you need to always just keep on trying, and it'll end up getting easier. You'll assimilate to the lifestyle. It's not going to be easy, but it'll get easier.
I love that. That's very wise words. Well, I'm just so thrilled to get to know the two of you, and that you've taken the time tonight to speak with me and everyone watching. Do you have anything else that you'd want to tell the audience here?
I mean, we are always available. I'm sure you will be tagging my social media when this is posted. So if there are any children who would like to reach out and maybe have a conversation with Taylor, or any parents who would like to talk to me, we are always here. We are always available, and you absolutely are not alone.
That's awesome. Well, thank you both so much for being here tonight. And to everyone watching, thank you for tuning in and getting to hear Sonja and Taylor's story. If you have a story about lymphedema that you'd want to share, please send us an email at marketing@lymphopress.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're curious about the Lymphopress Optimal Plus pump, Taylor approves, it's great. You can visit lymphopress.com and reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you get in touch with a local compression therapy consultant. So with that, thank you both so much, ladies, for being here tonight. And it was great getting to know you, and best of luck in your journey.
Thank you for having us.
Of course.